Hello friend, and welcome on back to the warm, loving embrace of the Yanosphere. What's going on? And welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Yan. As always, mate, I do hope that you are doing well, my friend. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, which of course is the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I try and therapize us all by scouring the internet for Chelsea news, reacting accordingly, giving you my thoughts on it, but more importantly, as always, asking for yours. In today's video, we're reacting to articles from both the Telegraph and the Athletic, hashtag broadsheet settings fam. This one here, published today, Xabi Alonso is among the betting favourites for the Chelsea job, but is he suitable? Well, gosh darn it, I hope so, because he's my preferred candidate. And this from Mike McGrath. Matt Law digs out. Actually, he didn't always dig out. He does dig out the Chelsea owners, but his colleague Mike McGrath, geezer here on the right, has written what can only be assumed to be a puff piece. Chelsea are lampooned as a crackpot club, but the football industry thinks differently. Right. So, in the balance of interest, I will react. The interest of balance, I will react to this. Though, you know, I, like many Chelsea fans, don't have a very high opinion on the current hierarchy and ownership model at Chelsea. But let's hear them out. Let's hear what they have to say, gang. Yeah, like I said, I do like reading from, the Telegraph, the Athletic, stuff like that. I will be citing Cy Phillips a little bit more moving forwards as well, because he's got good information. I'm going to pay for a Substack, obviously, by sharing the information. I've cleared it with Cy, and I'll be like, obviously, hopefully promoting you guys to go check out a Substack as well. But today we're getting into the Telegraph and the Athletic with these stories, hoping to learn a little bit about it. So strap yourselves in, pour yourself a drink, and let's dive deep into the depths, the rotting bowels of Chelsea Football Club. Alright, so we are going to start off with Mike McGrath's piece here. Can I just say, I do not like pedantic barley. I feel like I need to get my position out very quickly on this, because this sounds like early doors, a puff piece. It sounds like, again, early doors, a public relations exercise. Fierce negotiator, pedantic barley. That's what they used to call Marina Granovskaya, and best-in-class recruiters may not be as far from striking gold at Stamford Bridge as some would suggest. Fierce negotiator who just chucked money at certain players to get them, like Mykhailo Mudryk. He's the guy who got the Mykhailo Mudryk deal over the line. Well done, Mr. Fierce Negotiator, for completing a deal worth up to £88 million. What's that, $100 million on Mudryk, who's currently banned for doping. You fierce negotiator, you. Alright, let's see what's being said then. Right, it's now a distant memory, but just 5 months ago, Chelsea, who are currently in freefall, that's correct, were outside challenges for the Premier League title. Were we though? Insert Thor meme from the Marvel film. Really though? Or whatever it is. Those days seem a world away. When head coach had just been sacked, consecutive defeats have left the club mid-table, senior players have publicly discussed cities in which they would like to move, and a barber has leaked a team selection. Of course, Kukureya's barber. At the end of November, Chelsea were within touching distance of the league summit after a draw of Arsenal, which came just a few days after they defeated Barcelona in the Champions League. 3-0 as well. That was a lovely time. The Estevao versus Yamal game. Lots has changed since then. Those, quote, billion-pound bottle jobs, as Gary Neville called them, were getting their act together. Or were they? There's a graphic here, or a graph, or whatever the hell you call this thing. Chelsea's staggering drop-off. August to March the 7th, and then since. So, games before... 45 wins, 24. That doesn't seem great. To be I mean, yeah, it's fine, I suppose. Draws 10, losses 11. I mean, it's goals per game. I mean, it's sort of fine, but obviously the 10 games since, 2 wins out of 10, and one of those was Port Vale. You know, it's bad, bruv. It is real bad. 8 losses, real stinky stuff. Goals per game, 1.1. Horrendous stuff. Get it out my face. Don't make me look at that kind of vibes. XG per game, not radically different, but we're sort of missing sitters now. No one's in confidence anymore, and it's all terribly sad. With the club now in a period of self-reflection, as they look to appoint a new head coach for next season, the question is whether the Blueco way works. Easy for me to say. So far, it seems not, I must say. It's been 4 years since the US private equity investors agreed to buy the club, and they looked to be getting pretty close under previous head coach Enzo Maresca. The same players who showed maturity in the Emirates Stadium in November were embarrassed by Nottingham Forest's reserves earlier in the week. Also, just for Forest to go out and get slapped by Villa, was it 4-0? That's their first team. They should have sent out the B team that absolutely ravaged Chelsea. Let me just pause while I sip my coffee. Hot coffee. Shouldn't really be drinking coffee at 3 p.m. I try not to drink it in the afternoon, but I'm just so hungover. Chelsea have been characterised as a crackpot club in the past 2 months. Yep. Yet the view within the football industry does not tally. Maresca's presence has been the biggest difference in Chelsea's bipolar season. What did I say? So perhaps the right head coach can unlock these young players too. Xabi Alonso, more on him later, is an early contender to replace Liam Rosenior, who managed this scenario with aplomb at Bayer Leverkusen 2 years ago. Ooh, right, a different way of doing things. You could say that again. Look at these gaggle of knobbers. Hiding in the dark somewhere, in a dark room somewhere at Stamford Bridge. These guys are all hiding, thinking, how do we fix this? Why don't they love us? Etc, etc. Chelsea certainly have done things differently to previous owners of Premier League clubs, but are as hard-driven, tough in negotiations, and professional as their rivals. According to those who have done deals with them, we love them. This is me, by the way, if you didn't get that from the tone of voice shift. They're probably going, we love those tough negotiators over at Chelsea. What lovely, professional, hard-driven professionals they are. Keep giving us money. I mean, it looks like not necessarily abject failure, but pretty negative from everyone else on the outside in terms of their squad construction. Mistakes been made. You know, not being able to convince the players. I mean, early doors convincing the players that their project's the one and everyone should sign for us. But now you got freaking Cucurella calling out the project in public. You got Enzo Fernandez twerking for paella. Like, we are, you know, it's not a good look on the directors in the sporting hierarchy. No one's happy. Cole Palmer's broken. Your wingers that you've bought are all pony. I wonder who's paying for, or who's offered favors for this PR exercise to be executed. Let me find my way. The biggest difference with Chelsea and the other clubs is the sporting directors. There's 5 of them. 5 of the ruddy blighters. Too many if you ask me. You don't need 5. Too many. But most important being recruitment of players. Yes, the great Chelsea portfolio. Those directors include Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart, the main goons of Badad Bali. They often speak to players and agents on their day-to-day basis. There's Joe Shields, who's the co-director of recruitment and talent, whose track record with young elite players and Sam Jewell, Director of Global Recruitment. So they're more recruiting guys. Also appointed last November was Dave Fallows, the highly rated recruiter. More recruiters who previously worked at Liverpool. Alright, okay. The contrast to other clubs where the recruitment operation is more streamlined, during Manchester City's most successful period under Guardiola, there was just one person overseeing recruitment. Of course, this is Bergerstein, isn't it? Bergerstein? Tiki? One of the hardest names you could ever say. Tiki Bergerstein. Anyway, with deals often signed off by CEO Ferran Soriano, or of course Omar Barada. Barada is now at Man United, isn't he? Overseeing whatever's happening over there. Chelsea's way can draw the strengths of their recruitment team. Shields was at Manchester City at the same time as Delap. Well, thank goodness for that, because God forbid we didn't sign Liam Delap. While Winstanley spent 8 years at Brighton. Of course, the owners love Brighton, whose players have often been Chelsea's targets. There you go. I think you can probably hear my washing machine on a radically high octane, near nuclear level spin. Well, hopefully you can't, because that's really annoying. Chelsea sporting directors feed their work into co-owner Bedadik Bali. See, he is like head goon. Todd Boehly, if people have finally stopped calling it Boehly's Chelsea, Boehly wanted to buy Chelsea, he put the consortium together. It feels like he's been strong-armed out of like the control. I mean, he's the chair. I mean, this is speculative from me. He's the chairman, but at the same time, where is he? Why is it just, always freaking Bedadik Bali, like, flanked by his little weasels? Anyway, let's not be mean about them. They're professionals, remember? Chelsea's sporting directors, they feed information to Bedadik Bali, who has the final say on signings. No wonder we've got such an elite and capable squad, because Bedadik Bali is the final say on signings. Like his Premier League counterparts, Igbali is described as a fierce negotiator. The intermediaries spoken to the Telegraph say he is tough but fair. Yeah, as they count all their money. While those brought in to head up recruitment are best in class. Best in class recruitment. I literally friggin' fuse to read the rest of this segment because talking about Raheem Sterling there. Oh, that's before they came in. My giddy aunt. Let's move to the next section. I'm of the opinion our sporting hierarchy is not the best in class. Here we go. This is a different segment here, though. Chelsea could turn to experience. Ooh, that sounds appropriate. There is a plan. We reflect on the plan. We try to improve the plan and tweak the plan if it's not working. The message is we're committed. Can we be successful without winning? The answer is no. We've got to win. That's, of course, the recent quotes from Bedadik Bali. You need a lot of friggin' tweaking, bro. That hints small changes rather than ripping up the plan of signing the best young players and committing them to long-term contracts. Following that blueprint, Reece James is captain. He signed a new deal rather than running down his contract and getting a lucrative Bosman transfer. He's Chelsea, mate. He ain't going anywhere. One area Chelsea could look to tweak their strategy is bringing in experienced players. When they last won the title, they had influential players like Luiz, who's turned 30, Fabregas, Cahill, Terry. Diego Costa was late 20s, and of course we won the Champions League with Thiago Silva, who was 36 years old. Maresca did point this out about when you have 20, 21-year-olds and a player is 30, 31. But basically, I think Maresca was sort of explaining how it does help to have older players. The new head coach will surely know this too. Alonso brought the best out of Florian Wirtz and Jeremy, I don't know what I'm saying, like a French, it's definitely Dutch, Frimpong. But he also had Granit Xhaka, the Swiss midfielder type. Of course, he's a lot older. Yeah, so should he become the new Chelsea manager, Xabi Alonso that is, he's going to need some lieutenants, some big boys, some grown-ups, some supervisors on the pitch. So it's a perfect opportunity to go into the next segment of today's content and speak about the Spanish gaffer himself. This was published today as well. Xabi Alonso is among being betting favourites for the Chelsea job, but is he suitable? Well, I hope so, because for what he did at Bayer Leverkusen was incredible. He's a big name. I think he's probably the most perfect candidate available for Chelsea. I've been saying this for a long before. I think he even joined Real Madrid, possibly. I've been, banging the Xabi Alonso drum for a long time. Chelsea travel to Liverpool this weekend at a time when both clubs are looking closely for the future of their leadership, what it could look like. Former Liverpool player Xabi Alonso is the betting favourite to become the next permanent manager of both clubs. If they throw that hat in the ring, guys, I do worry for us, because it's Liverpool and it's Xabi Alonso, and also Frimpong and Wirtz are now at Liverpool. Isak and Ekitike aren't bad striker options, are they? In terms of players, good to go now. But the focus is more sharply towards the Chelsea angle for now, thank God. They are 9th place in the Premier League. Yep. And whoever takes over permanently this summer will be tasked with turning around a team that has badly lost its way of late. Yeah, we are, our way is so lost. Yes, it feels so, we are so lost. So lost, let me sip my coffee. Just skulls the rest of it, and I'm ready to supercharge through the rest of this content. Give me a new manager, fix my club, let me be happy again, let me see the sun, let the sun shine on me again. Chelsea have lost 8 of their last 10 matches in all competitions. Great start, with Callum McFarlane taking up as interim boss while they figure things out. Yeah, Shane not doing the business currently, must say. Maresca couldn't succeed in the environment, and neither could Liam Rosenia, who just lasted 107 days in the job, which embarrassingly, as we all know, included an international window. Could Alonso be the solution? Might he be the manager Chelsea are looking for? At 2-1, Alonso is the joint favourite to be named Chelsea manager, as well as Andoni Iraola. I've actually since checked, and collectively he's eked forwards, he is the favourite, but from what we understand, and from reporters such as Cy Phillips, it's to do with Chelsea convincing the Spanish manager to join. Marco Silva is also in contention at 6-1, which I must say would feel underwhelming. Xavi Hernandez, it would be kind of exciting, because it's Xavi, a bit like Alonso, but it would feel, for me, not as appropriate. It would feel not a great fit, it might feel a bit weird. Frank Lampard, 7-1. He should stay away for a bit longer, in my opinion. He's not mentioned here, but they do speak about, in other journalists, other publications, Cesc Fabregas is being spoken about quite a lot, actually. With the end of season in sight, Chelsea must accelerate their process of hiring a new boss. Yathar. Alonso might be the most compelling candidate and is available from his departure from Real Madrid, of course. At the Bernabeu, the former midfielder struggled to win over the big personalities, although his win percentage was incredible within the dressing room. It did not help that Alonso inherited a squad ill-equipped to play his brand of football. During his Bundesliga winning time at Bayer Leverkusen, Alonso favoured an aggressive front foot style of play that made his team one of the most entertaining to watch anywhere in Europe. Sounds good so far. In the season they won the title, Leverkusen won possession in the final third 6.6 times every 90 minutes, which is more than any other side in the division, highlighting Alonso's desire to press from the front. Thomas Tuchel loved that as well. High turnovers in the back three system. Surely. I mean, just a shame we're not in the Champions League next season, because I was going to say, could we do it again? But we are not in the Champions League next season. I know it's mathematically possible, but we are not. We stink. Let's keep going. Chelsea, on the other hand, rank a lowly 10th for the same metric in the Premier League this season. Yeah, and we outrun everyone. Alonso might not have the players to play the style he wants to play as Blues boss. Someone such as Alonso might appeal for this very reason, though. While Chelsea made some progress as a possession-orientated outfit under Maresca, they lost all sense of identity with Rosenia at the helm. Alonso had a good track record of developing young players, having turned Wirtz and Frimpong into stars who would eventually make Leverkusen loads of money in the transfer market, all to the aforementioned Liverpool, which worries me because I think perhaps he'll be keen to be reunited with them and other senior superstar players, of which perhaps Chelsea are lacking a little bit. Tactically, Alonso used a 3-4-2-1 formation, like Tommy Tukes at Chelsea and at Leverkusen, hinting at the framework he could install at Stamford Bridge. Marc Cucurella, Gusto could feasibly operate high and wide as wing-backs, so could Reece James. On top of this, Chelsea's lack of genuine quality in wide areas might make a narrow front three a wise choice. In my preview yesterday, I made a box midfield inside forward system. Remember that? We had fun then. And it did seem like, should Fernandes stay or Cole Palmer, the inside 10 positions suit them much better than the wings. He could do what he did with Florian Wirtz for Cole Palmer. There's your headline. Genuinely. In defence, though, Chelsea simply might not have the players to make Alonso's system work without Reece James operating as a high right-sided centre-back. The Blues sometimes have struggled to field just two central defenders. Well, we need to buy centre-backs. I mean, that's part of the briefings recently, or the information being leaked, is Alonso's like, well, I'm going to need centre-backs. You want to make this work? Give me that dinero, Donde este dinero, hermano? If you know what I mean. Disculpe, donde está dinero? In central defence, though, Chelsea simply, I just read that. At Madrid, Alonso demonstrated his willingness to adapt, generally using a 4-3-3, whether that was by design or a compromise for Real Madrid is unclear, but the Alonso might have more string to his bow than immediately apparent. I think Chelsea are well set up for a back three system. Poisonally. Alonso may yet have more than one job offer this summer. Indeed, the 44-year-old has spoken about as a potential replacement for Arne Slot. Let us have him, should the Dutchman leave Liverpool this summer. It'd be funny if the Scousers will hate that, won't they? They wanted Enzo Fernandez. There was kit mock-ups. He came Chelsea. Caicedo, kit mock-ups, Chelsea. Lavia, kit mock-ups, Chelsea. Hopefully we can do the same with Xabi Alonso as well. Supporters have even sung Alonso's name during matches, unhappy at the standard of their team performance this season. So he is the favourite to replace, like the overwhelming favourite to replace Arne Slot. Like much clear shorter odds than Chelsea, but it's more about would they keep Arne Slot at Liverpool? That's the question. Chelsea and Liverpool meet on Anfield on Saturday. That's tomorrow at time of recording, which is sad because I feel like we could never win a game of football again as things stand. And the away side might require someone to give them a new identity and direction. Abso-effing-lutely, mate. Alonso might have had the strength of personality to do that, just as he did at Leverkusen. At Leverkusen, Alonso worked under a sporting director who guided the majority of the club's activity in the transfer market. This is something Blueco would surely view as attractive about the Spanish manager. Well, guys, cast your mind back to maybe 10 minutes ago, wherever it was, when we were talking about the best-in-class sporting directors that do all the transfers and recruitment, so I'm sure they'd be very, very pleased with that. Alonso must be careful not to make another misstep in his managerial career. Look, man, I'm a Chelsea fan. I love my club. I would love Alonso to sign for us. I'd love to sign other good players, but I totally get the optics right now from the outside looking in. Like, don't go Chelsea. Why are you going Chelsea? Don't go Chelsea. Like, I get it. I was in the Tifo Football podcast, I was listening to it, they were like, talking about how Andoni Iraola can do better than Chelsea. Of course, he was linked to Crystal Palace. We don't know if those are conflicting reports now, but we'll see. So it's not massively alluring, the Chelsea job at the moment, but maybe it is enough. This is something, like I just said, Bluco would see attractive about the Spanish manager, the willingness and happiness to work with sporting directors. He must be careful not to do another managerial misstep, while many might be willing to write off what happened in Madrid. A second failure in quick succession would raise questions about his coaching ability. After the struggles of Graham Potter, Pochettino, Maresca, and Rosinia at Stamford Bridge in recent times, it would be a brave man who next takes on the Chelsea job, believing they can fix Chelsea. Well, there's always, you'll always have coaches that back themselves. They'll be like, I can be the one to fix them. Of course, we often use the example of good old Manchester United, who are often been an absolute circus in the last 10, 15 years, or however long it's been. And you always get like these big name managers, and like, why are they going there? And because they always believe they're the ones that can fix the situation. Now, Manchester United are a bigger club than Chelsea. Fine. Everyone thinks, everyone's own clubs are the biggest in the world to them. Man United are the biggest club in England. And they've got a lot of money. They generate a lot of natural revenue. And in terms of, finances, their Snapdragon, main sponsor, this is, a record-breaking financial deal compared to... I don't know why I pulled that out of my buttocks, but, compared to sort of our incompetence in terms of the front of shirt sponsorship deal stuff, it's all over the gaff, basically. And, Man United would be like, right, we just need a better attack. Let's just go and buy Seshko and Burmo and Cunha to play around Fernandes, and it just like, there you go, sorted. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Chelsea, it's a little bit like, yeah, you got a lot of young good players that could come good, but I also want to win games now, and this is dumb. Do you know what I mean? But to be fair, well, not to be fair, if we are to believe these briefings that they are starting to go, oh, maybe this is dumb, and we're going to have to bring in other players. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to keep a close eye on all developments, proceedings. Of course, I will be here to do so. Gang, let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comment section below on YouTube. Thank you for liking and subscribing on YouTube. Thank you for following and 5-starring on your preferred podcast platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and indeed others, I believe. You simply search Football Therapy Podcast and you follow and 5-star, and that helps me out. I'm very grateful for all your help. And while you're still here, for those of you who have settle down with me right at the end of the content, cozy up together. If you're watching on a mobile device, you swipe that comment section over down here and hype it up. Drop your hype points there. That's nice of you. All right then, enjoy the last day before you're having to endure Chelsea pain. See you soon. Peace.